Hello and welcome to What the F Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditas. Let's get to it. It's Monday, June 7th, 2021. Welcome to day 139. The United States reported an average of about 14,500 daily coronavirus cases over the past week and about 960,000 vaccinations administered each day. While more than half of Americans have now received at least one dose of the vaccine, less than a quarter of Black Americans have received their first shot. 42% of Americans overall are fully vaccinated. In D.C., Joe Manchin vowed to block the federal election reform bill. In an op-ed, Manchin wrote, "I believe that partisan voting legislation will destroy the already weakening binds of our democracy, and for that reason, I will vote against the For the People Act." He added, "Furthermore, I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster." The House of Representatives first approved the For the People Act in March with 0 Republican support. In the Senate, the bill would require at least 10 votes from the GOP, or would require the elimination of the filibuster in order to get passed. Later, in an interview on Fox News, Manchin called the voting reform bill, which would require states to offer at least 15 days of early voting, as well as universal access to mail-in voting, same-day registration for federal races, and would make Election Day a national holiday, the wrong piece of legislation to bring our country together and unite our country, and I'm not supporting that because I think it would divide us more. I don't want to be in a country that's divided any further, he said. Meanwhile, the New York Times reports that Trump's chief of staff repeatedly pushed the Justice Department to investigate unfounded conspiracy theories about election fraud. In 5 emails sent during the last week of December and in early January, Mark Meadows asked Jeffrey Rosen, who was then acting attorney general, to examine debunked claims of election fraud and baseless conspiracies. Rosen declined to open the investigations. Meanwhile, Representative Mo Brooks was finally served a lawsuit alleging that he and other pro-Trump allies were partially accountable for the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. According to court filings, Representative Eric Swalwell's legal team have been trying since March to serve Brooks and had hired a private investigator in order to serve the suit. Moving on, the Justice Department imposed a gag order on New York Times executives over an attempt to obtain 4 New York Times reporters' email logs from Google, which operates the Times email system. Google resisted the effort to obtain the information, and the secret legal battle, which began during the Trump administration and continued under Biden, was ultimately unsuccessful. A federal court lifted the gag order on Friday, which had been in effect since March 3rd. The disclosure came 2 days after the Biden Justice Department notified the 4 reporters that the Trump administration in 2020 had secretly seized their phone records from early 2017. The Biden administration disavowed any knowledge that the Justice Department had tried to seize the email data of those reporters and that they had obtained a gag order. The Justice Department also said that it would no longer secretly obtain reporters' records during government leak investigations. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Justice Department said that in a change to its long-standing practice, the department will not seek compulsory legal process in leak investigations to obtain source information from members of the news media doing their jobs. Moving on, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that thousands of immigrants living in the United States for humanitarian reasons are not eligible to apply to become permanent residents. The decision is a setback for as many as 400,000 immigrants in the United States who have temporary protected status from deportation because of unsafe conditions in their home countries. The House of Representatives, however, has already passed legislation that would make it possible for TPS recipients to become permanent residents, but the bill faces uncertain prospects in the Senate. And finally, Earth's atmospheric carbon dioxide hit levels not seen in more than 4 million years. According to scientists from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography and NOAA, atmospheric carbon dioxide levels peaked in May, reaching a monthly average of nearly 419 parts per million, the highest levels in human history. In 2021, daily recorded levels have twice exceeded 420 parts per million. Despite the sharp decrease in global greenhouse gas emissions early in the pandemic, NOAA said that there was no discernible impact on the rate of increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Anditas.